Have you ever felt like your cat is an unfathomable enigma, living in your house but under rules only he seems to understand? In this MeowTube video, you'll find out. We will deliver the master key to unlocking their code, a definitive guide to going from simply owning them to becoming their refuge and their favorite person in the world. So stay until the end, because the revelations we'll share today have the power to transform your relationship forever. Welcome to MeowTube, the channel for cat lovers. They are not small dogs. The most widespread and damaging mistake in the human-cat relationship is assuming that a cat is essentially a smaller, more independent version of a dog. This notion is not only incorrect, but it also lays the foundation for miscommunication and constant frustration. Dogs, descendants of wolves, are pack animals, are genetically programmed for social cooperation, hierarchy, and the desire to please a leader. Their affection is often exuberant, and their body language is relatively easy for us to interpret. The domestic cat, on the other hand, is descended from the Libyan wildcat. The cat is an eminently solitary hunter. This evolutionary heritage is the keystone of all its behavior. A cat doesn't think in terms of a pack, but in terms of territory and resources. But its psychology is even more complex, for it embodies a fundamental duality. It is simultaneously an efficient predator and a vulnerable prey. As a predator, its instinct compels it to observe, stalk, and control its environment. Every movement, every sound, is processed by a nervous system designed for hunting. This is why they seek elevated positions from which they can oversee their territory unseen, and why their play mimics the phases of the hunt with lethal precision. As prey, however, its survival depends on innate caution and an aversion to risk. They are neophobic creatures, meaning they distrust the new and unknown. A loud noise, a sudden movement, an unexpected change in their surroundings is not a mere annoyance. It is a direct existential threat. This duality explains their overwhelming need for control and security. A cat isn't trying to dominate you, it's trying to dominate its environment so it can feel safe enough to let its guard down. When a cat hides, it isn't being antisocial. It's obeying an age-old instinct that dictates vulnerability is dangerous. And understanding this dichotomy is the first and most crucial step in deciphering its code, the world through his nose, territory, and scent. Humans are primarily visual creatures. For us, seeing is believing. For a cat, smelling is knowing. Its world is defined not by what it sees, but by the complex tapestry of scents that pervades it. Its sense of smell is at least 14 times more powerful than ours, and it possesses a vomeronasal organ, or Jacobson's organ, that allows it to taste odor molecules and analyze chemical information with astonishing precision. This olfactory ability is the primary tool with which they manage their territory and their emotional security. This is where one of their most common and least understood behaviors comes into play: pheromone marking. When your cat rubs against your legs, the corners of furniture, or even your face, it's not simply asking for food or a cuddle. It's performing a crucial act, depositing facial pheromones. These chemicals, undetectable to us, are their signature, their seal of approval. By marking an object or a person, the cat is saying, "This is familiar, this is safe, this belongs to me." Thus, your home is not simply a physical space for your cat, it's an olfactory safety map. Every time you return home, you bring with you strange and unfamiliar smells from outside. Your cat's ritual of rubbing against you is a deliberate act to cleanse those foreign scents and return to its familiar environment, impregnate it with the familiar scent of home, the scent of security. This leads us to a profound reevaluation of our relationship. From a feline perspective, you are not so much its owner as its most prized territory. But you are a central, yet mobile pillar within its map of security. For a cat to mark you with its scent is one of the greatest compliments it can offer. It is integrating you into the very core of its known and safe universe. The coin of cats: trust, not affection. In the world of canine relationships, affection is often the primary currency, offered generously and seemingly unconditionally. In the feline universe, the currency is far more valuable and volatile: it's trust. Cats operate under what we might call a strict trust economy. Every interaction you have with your cat is a transaction, a deposit, or withdrawal from their trust account. Deposits are actions that reinforce your dog's sense of security and control. speaking to them in a soft voice, moving calmly and predictably, offering them food or a treat without demanding anything in return, or participating in a respectful play ritual are small but significant deposits into this account. Slow blinking, as we'll see later, is a high-value deposit. Withdrawals, on the other hand, can be catastrophic. A sudden movement, a shout, a chase around the house, or forcing a pet when the cat doesn't want it, aren't simple mistakes. They're massive withdrawals that can leave the account overdrawn. And unlike a bank account, rebuilding a feline trust fund requires far more time and effort than it took to deplete it. A single traumatic event can require dozens of positive interactions to repair. This economy of trust explains why cats often seem distant or aloof. It's not a lack of affection, but rather a prudent management of their emotional resources. Affection, as in its purest form, a purr, a need, the simple act of choosing to sleep beside them, is the interest generated when the trust account is overflowing. It can't be demanded, it can only be earned by patiently cultivating a positive balance through consistent, respectful, and secure interactions. The emotional barometer. Why your mood affects them. Finally, we must address one of the most subtle yet influential aspects of feline psychology: their extraordinary sensitivity to human energy and emotional state. Cats are walking emotional barometers. Their survival instinct, honed over millennia, has made them masters of observing nonverbal cues. They are capable of detecting the slightest variations in our tone of voice, our posture, our muscle tension, and even our heart and breathing rates. When a human is stressed, anxious, or angry, they emit a cascade of signals of unpredictability and danger. For a cat, whose safety depends on a stable and predictable environment, an emotionally volatile human is a source of chronic stress. The tension in the atmosphere is, for them, the equivalent of distant thunder announcing a possible storm. They don't understand the cause of the anger, they only perceive the discordant energy and interpret it as a potential threat to their territory. For this reason, calmness isn't simply a preference for a cat, it's a fundamental requirement for them to feel safe and be able to interact. When you are calm and relaxed, you are communicating to your cat in a language they perfectly understand, that the environment is safe, that there are no predators nearby, and that they can lower their defenses. Your serenity is, in effect, an act of love. It's the creation of an emotional sanctuary where your feline can thrive, allowing trust to blossom and a true bond to develop. Understanding this means understanding that to win over a cat, we must first learn to control ourselves. Now that you have the foundation to understand your cat's mind, we've completed the why phase. In part 2, we'll move on to the how, revealing practical techniques for communicating directly in their language, from slow blinking to the art of the perfect stroke. If this journey into the feline code is proving enlightening, and you'd like to continue deciphering the secrets of animal behavior with us, now's the perfect time to subscribe to MeowTube and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any of our future videos. First impressions, the art of magnetic indifference. The most deeply ingrained human impulse when we encounter an animal we find attractive is to initiate contact. We approach, extend our paw, and establish direct eye contact. From a cat's perspective, especially a shy or unfamiliar one, this sequence of actions is identical to that of a predator stalking its prey. A larger creature approaches directly with a fixed gaze and an outstretched limb. It is a blatant violation of its instinctive safety protocol. Therefore, the most eloquent sign of respect we can offer a cat is, paradoxically, calculated indifference. Upon entering a room where the feline is present, the correct strategy is to avoid direct eye contact and not approach it. Instead, move calmly, speak in a soft, serene tone of voice, and sit down. By sitting, you reduce your height and, consequently, to your perceived threat level. This apparent lack of interest communicates an unmistakable message to the cat. I am not a threat. I have no hostile intentions toward you. Your presence does not disturb my calm. You thus become a safe and inert part of the environment, an object of curiosity rather than a subject of fear. It is then that the cat, feeling it has complete control of the situation, can decide to begin the investigation. When you notice the cat approaching, resist the impulse to move abruptly. Instead, slowly extend a single index finger, keeping it still at a safe distance. This gesture is non-threatening, A finger is small and resembles the nose another cat might offer in a tentative greeting. The final decision belongs to the feline. It should be the cat that closes the distance, sniffs your finger and if it feels completely safe, initiates physical contact by rubbing its cheek against it. By allowing it to dictate the terms of the first encounter, you have not only avoided a withdrawal from your trust account, but you have also made the most valuable deposit of all, respect for its autonomy. Wordless conversations, the dictionary of slow blinking and the tail. A cat's body is an open book, a constant source of information about its emotional state and intentions, provided we know how to read it. Mastering this nonverbal dictionary is essential for fluid communication. Let's begin with the most powerful gesture, the slow blink. A normal blink is a reflex, but a slow blink is a deliberate statement. In the animal kingdom, closing one's eyes in the presence of another is the ultimate demonstration of vulnerability, and therefore, of trust. A cat that looks at you and slowly closes its eyes, then opens them with the same deliberation, is communicating that it feels so safe in your presence that it can afford to let its guard down. It's the feline equivalent of "I love you," or more precisely, "I trust you completely." You can and should initiate this gesture. From a distance, make soft eye contact and perform a slow, exaggerated blink. Then you can turn your head slightly to the side to further soften the intensity of your gaze. If the cat returns the gesture, you have established a deep connection. The tail acts as an antenna for emotions, a visible barometer of a cat's mood. An upright tail, perpendicular to the ground, often with a slight curve at the tip, is a sign of a happy, confident cat open to interaction. If the tip twitches slightly, it's a sign of great excitement and affection. A tail shaped like a question mark indicates curiosity and a friendly disposition. Conversely, a tail held low or tucked between the hind legs denotes fear, anxiety, or submission. A tail that flaps in wide, rapid side-to-side movements is a clear warning of irritation or overstimulation. It's a signal to stop any interaction. And of course, a tail fully bristling like a brush is a defensive sign of extreme fear or aggression, with which the cat tries to appear larger and more threatening. Finally, the ears act as a radar for intentions. In their relaxed, neutral state, they point forward. When something catches their attention, they will rotate in the direction of the sound with impressive agility. However, if the ears begin to swivel to the sides, adopting the familiar airplane position, it is an unmistakable indicator of irritation or fear. If they flatten completely against the head, it is the final warning before a defensive or offensive reaction. Affection on its own terms, where, when, and how to caress. Physical contact should always be a negotiation, not an imposition. Understanding safe and dangerous zones is crucial to avoid overstimulation and negative reactions. The safest areas for petting are concentrated on the head, specifically the cheeks, chin, and the base of the ears. This is no coincidence. These areas house the facial pheromone glands. By petting these areas, you actively participate in the scent-marking ritual, mixing your scent with theirs, which is extremely comforting and affirming for the cat. Danger zones, on the other hand, are usually the abdomen, on tail, and paws. The abdomen protects vital organs, so even if a cat shows you its belly as a sign of trust, touching it can trigger an instinctive defensive reflex. To avoid overstimulation, which is the main reason a cat can go from purring to biting in an instant, implement the 3-second rule. Pet the cat in a safe area for no more than 3 seconds, then stop, keeping your hand close. Observe its reaction. If it rubs against your hand, seeking more contact, it's an invitation to continue. If it remains still or moves slightly away, it's had enough. This continuous consent method respects its boundaries and builds a physical interaction based on mutual trust, not forced tolerance. The sacred ritual of the hunt, playing to connect. For an indoor cat, play is not just a pastime. It's a fundamental psychological need and one of the most powerful bonding tools at our disposal. But it's not simply about waving a toy around. To be truly satisfying, play must simulate the complete hunting cycle: stalking, chasing, catching, and killing. Use fishing rod-like toys to mimic the behavior of prey. Have the toy hide behind a piece of furniture, stalking phase, run erratically across the floor, chasing phase, and crucially, Allow the cat to catch it periodically. Catching phase. Here's the secret. You must always let him win. The purpose of the hunt is the satisfaction of the catch. Depriving him of this culmination leads to frustration and can damage his self-confidence. When he catches the toy, allow him to kill it, to bite it and kick it with his hind legs. Once the play slows down, at the end of the session, by allowing the final catch and immediately reward him with a small edible treat. This act closes the instinctive cycle, hunt, catch, kill, eat, providing a deep sense of accomplishment and well-being and strengthening the bond between you as his hunting partner and provider. You've just learned to speak cat, applying techniques that transform daily interactions into conversations filled with trust. If at least one of these practical tips has offered you a new way to connect with your feline friend, we would greatly appreciate it if you indicated it with a like. Your support is essential and prepares us for the final phase of our journey. In Part 3, we'll learn to build the perfect environment, the ultimate sanctuary that will solidify your place as the absolute center of their world. The power of predictability, routine as an act of love. For a creature governed by instinct, whose survival depends on anticipating danger and managing resources, uncertainty is a source of constant stress. Predictability, on the other hand, is synonymous with security. A cat doesn't experience time as a linear succession of events, but as a cycle of expected rituals. Routine, therefore, is not a monotonous and boring structure. It is the framework upon which its emotional security is built. It is, in its purest form, a profound act of love. Consistency in feeding times is perhaps the most critical pillar. Serving meals at the same time every day sends a powerful message. Resources are stable, survival is guaranteed, and there's no need for scarcity anxiety. But this principle extends far beyond the food bowl. Establishing fixed times for play sessions, as we've seen, satisfies their predatory instincts in a predictable and rewarding way. Even your own personal routine contributes to this sanctuary of stability. The sound of your alarm clock, the ritual of making coffee, the time you get ready to go out or go to bed, these are all temporal markers that your cat learns and uses to orient themselves throughout the day. These predictable patterns eliminate anxiety about the unknown and allow you to conserve mental energy, which would otherwise be spent in a state of hypervigilance. When a cat can anticipate the key events of its day, it can afford to fully relax, to be vulnerable, to trust. Therefore, maintaining a routine shouldn't be seen as an obligation, but rather as the most consistent and quiet way to tell your cat, in this territory, everything is under control, you are safe. Architecture for cats, verticality and hiding places. The physical environment is a direct extension of your cat's psychology. For them to truly feel at home, the architecture of the space must satisfy both sides of their instinctive nature, predator and prey. This translates into two key architectural concepts, verticality and hiding places. Verticality satisfies the predator within. A hunter's instinct compels them to seek high vantage points from which to survey their territory, assess potential threats and spot prey, all without being detected. Denying a cat access to vertical spaces is denying them a fundamental tool for their sense of control and security. Providing this verticality can be as simple as clearing the top shelf of a bookcase or as elaborate as installing a multi-level cat tree. A cat that can climb and observe the world from above is a cat that feels empowered and secure in its domain. On the other hand, hiding places satisfy the prey. No matter how secure a cat feels, its instincts will always remind it of its vulnerability. It needs access to small, dark, enclosed spaces where it can retreat when overwhelmed, stressed, or simply in need of solitude. A cat without safe places to hide is an exposed cat and therefore chronically anxious. A simple cardboard box can be the perfect refuge. A fabric tunnel, the space under a bed, or a quiet corner in a closet with the door ajar are vital sanctuaries. The act of hiding is not a rejection of you. It is an essential self-regulation mechanism. An ideal environment is one that offers a rich variety of choices. The ability to choose between being up high, visibly controlling the surroundings, or being hidden, feeling invulnerably safe, gives the cat maximum autonomy over its own emotional well-being. A cat with choices is, by definition, a happy and balanced cat. The bond of scent, how to leave your hug when you're not there. As we established in the first part, a cat's world is primarily olfactory. Its identity, and that of those it trusts, is intrinsically linked to the safety map of familiar scents. Its physical presence is accompanied by its unique aroma, a central component of that map. Consequently, its absence is not only a visual loss but also an olfactory void that can generate anxiety. To alleviate separation anxiety, and we can leave an echo of our presence through scent. The technique is as simple as it is effective. Leave an item of clothing you've recently worn, such as a t-shirt you slept in or a sweater, in your cat's favorite resting place. This garment is imbued with your personal scent, your pheromones. For your cat, this object isn't just a piece of fabric, it's a tangible and comforting representation of your presence. It acts as a natural tranquilizer, a constant reminder that the most important member of their social group, the pillar of their safe territory, hasn't disappeared, but is simply temporarily absent. It's an olfactory embrace that offers comfort and stability until your return. The secret to ultimate confidence, the toothbrush. We now come to the final technique, a little-known secret that operates at an almost subconscious level for the cat, accessing its most primal memories of affection and security. This technique involves using a soft, new toothbrush to simulate maternal grooming. Let's remember that one of a kitten's first and most powerful experiences is being licked by its mother. A cat's tongue is rough, and the act of grooming, especially around the face and head, is not only about cleanliness but also a fundamental form of bonding, comfort, and social affirmation. This instinctive memory remains latent throughout the cat's life. By taking a soft-bristled toothbrush, baby toothbrushes are ideal, and using it to gently stroke your cat's cheeks, chin, and forehead, you are mimicking the texture and movement of its mother's tongue. It is crucial to do this when the cat is already in a calm and receptive state. The strokes should be short, gentle, and focused on the areas where its facial glands are located. Many cats react to this technique with immediate and profound relaxation. They may begin to purr intensely, press their head against the brush, and even need all behaviors associated with the security and contentment of nursing. This act transcends a simple stroke. It is direct communication with the most instinctive core of its being, a reminder of the first love and absolute security it has ever known. It is the final seal on a bond of supreme trust, a demonstration that you understand and can provide the deepest form of feline comfort. Our journey to decipher the feline code concludes here, where we've learned their language and how to build their sanctuary. The path to becoming their favorite person lies not in tricks but in deep empathy and unconditional respect. By understanding their instincts, we cease to be their owners and become their safe haven and home. We'd love to know which technique you're most excited to try, so let us know in the comments. If you found this content valuable, we invite you to subscribe to become part of this community. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next video.